here in the chat coming in. Grab a seat. We've got this nice, big, comfy auditorium here for you to chill out in and join us for our pre-con event, How We Got the Shot. While you're jumping in here, why don't you drop in the chat where you are zooming in from, and yeah, let us know what's going on. We got Michigan, York. Well, you guys, the speakers states are representing here. We got Portland, Oregon. Good to see you, Deb. Sandra's at the help desk. Isn't that everywhere, Sandra? Um, right on. Whoa, it's flooding now. Right? Look at that. More Maine. We got Canada. Canada being represented. I love it. Los Angeles. Nice. Oregon. Different side. We've got Florida, Colorado Springs. Nice, nice. Well, thank you all really for jumping in. You can see we've got our five illustrious speakers here for the How I Got the Shot. This is an annual event. Can you believe it? It's our sixth annual Night Photo Summit. Drop in the chat how many Night Photo Summits you've been to. Also, drop in the chat. Do you have your ticket already for this year, or are you still on the fence? Because what we're kind of experiencing here in the Zoom aspect is how we will be participating in the classroom style. But there's much more on the website. There'll be networking rooms, there'll be parties and all sorts of events. So it's beyond a virtual event, right? Way beyond. So, okay, let's see what we got. We got two summits. We got West Virginia, three summits. Love it. All right. Four, five. Uh, Patrick's got all of the t-shirts. Those are pretty good t-shirts, right, everyone? That super soft. Look at Adam Woodworth is wearing one right now. Adam, what year you got on there? That's a nice color.
I think this is the original because it's the one I have that's the most worn and faded. Like the first
Nice.
year.
Nice, nice. Yes, that was a good one. So I think this is Heather Gray that just got more and more heathered the longer we went around there. So
Yeah.
awesome.
The
Awesome.
blue. The
Yeah,
blue
it's like
one.
a blue gray.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like slate blue or something.
Yeah, Uwe, I'll be shipping out the t-shirts next week. I believe they're going out next Tuesday or Wednesday. So stay tuned. They should get to everyone in the continental US. And by the way, for those of you who did get your tickets in time for the swag box, oh my goodness, I've been getting the swag at B&H. This is like an all-time swag box that we've already got. I mean, I think it's going to be half filled with stickers. So I think, we need to buy more like thermoses, water bottles, coolers, because where else are we going to put or who needs to buy a new car to put stickers on, right? You know, but there's some really, really good swag. We've got a great collection of sponsors that are coming in. I'm super excited. Our friends at B&H, we're going to be doing the assembly line, like I said, next Tuesday, Wednesday, and getting those swag boxes out to you. For those of you who got your tickets, I believe after the deadline, those just the t-shirts will be shipped directly to you, as accordingly when we'll probably get them after the summit. But that's why we do the hype on the free t-shirts, because you get those cool swag boxes. We got some cool comments. Everyone's watching the videos from the last 3 days. That's right. Remember, for those of you who were at 2025, right? You still have a little time to watch those. Also, we got free videos every Tuesday and Thursday leading up to Night Photo Summits. We still have 5 free sessions for you to take advantage of and kind of get refreshed on that. So, did I even introduce myself? I mean, we see the thing there. I mean, I'm just like going way well beyond everything here. So,
I
anyways,
don't think you did.
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, here's right. All right. Well, here we are at the How We Got the Shots. Featuring these five amazing photographers who all of them will be speaking at this year's Night Photo Summit. I'm your host, Gabriel Biederman, and I'm super excited to be here for this. We've got Adam. Adam, give a little woo woo. Adam from Maine. We've got Angel in Norway. We've
Hello.
We've got Mary Beth in upstate New York.
Woohoo. Yep.
And Prince is joining us from Spain.
Hello, everybody.
And Geoff is from Colorado. This is like a
Hello,
global
hello.
event. Holy moly. This is like never before have we kind of gathered people like this all over the world. Really, really thank you. Appreciate that for you guys coming in. I know, especially for Angel and Prince, it's what, 1, 2 in the morning out there. So, uh,
Yeah.
but luckily you are, as we
Master
would,
photographers.
we are right, night owls. Lack of a better word, we'll just call it night owls, right? And again, tonight's how we got the shot is each one of these night experts will share just one of their favorite images and tell us the story about how it all came together. And again, today we're going to give you a really good taste of what Summit is all about. All the sessions will be happening in Zoom rooms, just like you see here, and you'll be able to interact just as you see here in the summit. So what I'll say, you've done a really good job interacting in the chat. We're going to keep an eye on that chat. If you have any questions for any of the speakers here tonight, drop them on in the Q&A. We've got the Q&A right down there. So go ahead and drop that in. We'll have a couple minutes for each speaker. We want to keep things in check, but if I see a good question kind of pop in by the end, we might have a little time at the end to answer any outstanding questions. All right. So we also have our customer service agent, the Sandra Ramos. She is here. She's floating around in the Montana Zoom web space atmosphere, and she'll be here tonight, and she'll be here throughout the whole summit. So if you ever have a problem logging in or having any sort of issue with anything, you want to go to the help section on our website. Let me see if I could just kind of quickly show you where that is. If we go here, there we go. All right, so here is, let's just say here's the home page right here, and then just go to the help tab right on over here, and then you scroll down, and then you can zoom directly with Sandra. There she is, and she'll be able to answer any of your questions. Right on. Thank you, Sandra. Then also feel free. Remember the benefit of participating for the registered people is you want to go in. The schedule is up. We're going to be adding a few more things, but really 92% of the schedule is made. So if you want to set your schedule, you go into any one of you're logged in. You got to make sure you're logged in, and then you add this to your schedule. And what's great about that, and add as many as you like, right? Even if they're at the same time, because you're going to get email notifications about those classes and how to log in. So it should be really seamless. If you use the schedule tab and add them to your cart, that's going to be the best way to do it. So we also have, besides this event, let's go over to the tab. This is where we're at tonight. We've had a bunch of night talks. If you want to watch the recordings, those are on Instagram or YouTube. Probably a little bit better on YouTube right now, just because you can stream it on the big TV and go fast forward or rewind and stuff like that. And then here are the free replays that we've got left. So tomorrow, well, Mary Beth, you're back tomorrow. Whoa, look at that. Weather
Oh,
apps
boy.
demystified, right? So, I mean, it's your recorded self. but
I'll be
that'll
sure
be
not to watch.
exactly. So we've got that. Prince, you're coming up too. Stars, Pictures, and Possibilities. That's coming up the
Oh.
next Tuesday. Then Dan Zafra, Anatomy of a Milky Way Panorama. Shoot for the Edit Milky Way, Tim Cooper. And then finally, Susan Magnano, the day before the summit opens, is going to do Lights in Flight, the art of lighting with a drone. So you can see all of those. What happens with those, I'll give you the tip. Midnight, maybe a little before, at least, and I'm talking East Coast Standard Time. The website, the homepage of the website, if you scroll down, look, Mary Beth's already up. It's up already. It's like you already get like four free hours of watching it right now. There it is. All you got to do is click on that, and it's ready to go. So yeah, that's it's obviously when we get to the homepage, we got this banner. Just scroll down, get through that. You've already signed up, and then go down to the free replay. Again, you'll see that Tuesdays and Thursdays, and maybe the night before around 8 to 10 o'clock. You might see it as well. So take advantage of those. Those are great ways to kind of just get in the zone. It's winter time, it's hibernation time. It's time for us to kind of soak in, learn a lot, and just get inspired. So, um, I also, did everyone see the kind of the big news that dropped yesterday at Night Photo Summit? I'll leave that in the chat.
Yeah.
Prince, you saw that, right? Yeah. Big
It
news.
was hard not to see.
We've got an astronaut coming, folks. We've got astronaut Don Pettit. He'll be giving the opening night talk on Friday, February 13th. For those of you who don't know, Don is like the photo astronaut. You've seen him juggling his cameras in space, taking photographs of auroras and lightning and Milky Way, all while traveling like 17,500 miles an hour. What kind of shutter speeds is he using? This is like insane. I gotta figure out how he's taking these photos. It's a can't miss. If you're gonna, you want to attend basically every speaker that's here. You want to attend their class, and then after that, you want to attend Don's class on Monday night. So, but really good, really good. Don was so excited to have Don here, so you don't want to miss that. It's actually up. Put it on your schedule and save that date for you ASAP. All right. So I think it's time. Is everyone ready to look at some jaw-dropping images from our night experts here? We're going to find out more about, again, their preparation, their gear, and the process on how they got to the shot. All right. So first up, I am going to introduce Angel Fuchs. You are up first. And Angel is
I am.
yes, exactly. And I just did a wonderful interview with Angel. We did an awesome night talk. You can again watch that replay on both Instagram and YouTube. Really awesome. We've really enjoyed your work. So great to know you. And we were talking about which image to save for this, and I think we saved the best shot for it. So quick bio on Angel. She is a photographer and digital artist whose work blends photography and art to create striking visual narratives. She specializes in composite photography and nightscapes, and Angel focuses on capturing the beauty of remote locations and the unique atmosphere of the night sky. Having started the photography at the age of 10, Angel has developed a thoughtful approach to her work, combining technical expertise with creativity. And her portfolio includes carefully crafted photo composites and astro images that aim to inspire curiosity and a deeper appreciation for the natural world. So Angel shares her knowledge and experience through workshops, seminars, lectures, private courses, all driven by a passion for storytelling and creating impactful images. Her work reflects a commitment to helping others see the world and the night skies in new and meaningful ways. Folks, let's give a warm welcome to Angel. And I am going to share her amazing image right. Oh, actually, hold on. Pause, please. There it is. Nothing is going on in the background. I mean, something is going on in the background. There we go. All right, we're seeing this good, full screen. Everything look good, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Good evening, good morning, good night, depending on where you're joining. I am joining all of you from Norway, so it is currently 2 a.m. But yeah, this is what we do as astrophotographers, so no room for complaint here. Today, I will be sharing with you the photo that you see here. Some of you might have already seen it. It is quite a special shot in the type of work that I've done. And it is what we call the double Milky Way arch phenomenon. To give you a bit of context, it's a bit of a rare celestial alignment. It is something that is only visible once per year for a dedicated window. In the Northern Hemisphere, it happens in March, around March, when there is a new moon. And for the Southern Hemisphere, that is in September. And both look very different from the North and from the Southern one. The Milky Way you see on the left is what we call the summer Milky Way here in the Northern Hemisphere. This is what we're more used to seeing photos. There's the galactic core. You see constellations such as Antares. It's a very colorful area. And on the right side is what we call the winter Milky Way arch, where you can easily recognize Orion, Sirius, and other key constellations and stars. To give you a bit of context on how that was taken, the image itself is happening here at 3,100 meters altitude. It is in the depth of the Alps, quite south, and you might recognize the little mountain peak on the right side, which is the almighty Matterhorn. It was taken from the Gornograd Glacier. So what you see down in the valley is that specific glacier with the mountain at the top end of it. And it was a very, very cold night, but I'll get into that in a minute. This is an image that was in my mind for over a year. The first time I saw it was through, I discussed it with Dan from Capture the Atlas. And then from Mihail, I saw his own attempt that might have happened 2 or 3 years ago. And it was clearly something, a bucket list shot that I really wanted to make happen. It is quite difficult in Switzerland to have a place where you have that 360 view that allows you to see both sides without any obstruction. And also it is happening at different times of the night. In this case, what happens is that you have, during that one window that happens in March, this was taken in March 2025, you have on the first part of the night, our Milky Way, winter Milky Way arch setting. So the first part of the night is going to be where you really focus on that one. And then on the other side, right before sunrise, is when we see the first time for the season, the summer Milky Way arch rising. And so this is not something that you capture throughout the same time frame. It is a time blend. It has to be. There is no way you can see both arches simultaneously, but they happen over the same night. So the goal was really to capture that form of passage of time within the same night. And it's also a passage of season, especially when we talk about Milky Way photography season starting and the galactic core in the Northern Hemisphere becomes visible. So in terms of gear, this was taken directly with a astro-modified camera for the sky. I usually like to work with 2 different sets. I have one that is dedicated to the landscape part, one camera, one lens for that, same focal length then for the sky part, but another lens, and an astro-modified camera. So here that required quite a bit of gear to carry and all the batteries to manage in winter, because I experienced something like minus 17 degrees Celsius. So cold winter nights. I was on my own and had one of the cameras shooting for the first part of the night, had the tracker on. Unfortunately, the tracker had a very hard time aligning. And in minus 17, you can expect how small challenges like this are actually going to make it super difficult for you to move forward if it doesn't decide to resolve itself at some point. I was lucky enough for it to work eventually, and had the proper time to do all the rows and the frames that were needed. And then you stay up all night, so you have that sort of break of 2 hours in between. That is just the right time for you to try and warm yourself up in the sleeping bag as much as you can, and try and keep the gear warm as well. And then second part of the night, same camera, but now facing in the opposite direction. So it's the 360 panorama here, 180 on one side, 180 on the other. And so then starts the time to focus on the summer Milky Way arch. Same, set up the tracker again, realign. And here realize that the tracker is just dying in battery. So I had, fortunately, a power bank with me that allowed to keep it alive at like 16% battery power. But yeah, so it was challenging with the weather, and this is something to also consider. Turned out to work fine in the end. And the landscape part that you see here was taken with the other set, so non-astro modified camera, but with my normal stock camera before dawn and nautical hour. So this is a time that is usually nice to shoot a landscape because you get still that very soft light and enough light coming into the landscape, but still nice colors that blend well with the night sky and not too harsh. So this happened at the time. Where you see on the right is my little tent, and on the left is myself standing using the interval shooting timer mode. Lastly, when it comes to editing, this was quite a challenge. I enjoy editing. It's my absolute favorite part of the process, but it can be a very lengthy one depending on the image. And this one was no exception. So you have to really work first bits by bits. And for those who have already stitched Milky Way panoramas, it is a full process of its own. It's a standalone thing that already takes a lot of effort. So I had to really work first on one of the arches. Then on the second one, the winter one was quite difficult and challenging for me. It was my first attempt at doing a winter arch. And then you have to blend them together so that it looks like it was taken fully at the same time. And it's just a really 360 without any gap of some 2 to 3 hours. And then the landscape part, also a 360 or maybe 340 in this case, and put everything in the place where it was. So the Milky Way, the summer one was really arching on the left side, and then the winter one on the right side here. I believe I have covered everything that I wanted to cover, but I'm available in case for questions. And Gabe, if you have anything, you let me know. I don't have access to the chat right now.
First off, wow, what a shot. I think you've definitely inspired. Let me get the audio or the video back on. Wait, is it not? But you've definitely inspired us to now chase after the double Milky Way arch, right? Isn't that? It's like, whew. And I love the balance, of your tent on one side, you on the other.
Thank you.
It's a perfectly balanced shot. My goodness, the exposure, right? Panorama is already difficult enough, and to blend all that stuff there, absolutely fantastic job. I can't believe it was your first crack at it as well, right? Your first crack at, you said, of
Yes.
doing the north, it's doing a double. It's a pretty good first crack. I can't wait to see your better, how you improve upon that. We do have an anonymous attendee who's asking, can you talk us through how you decided on the composition, what to keep in and what to crop? Maybe what was the focal length that you that you
I
used?
am around 20 millimeter.
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of composition, in this case was not too difficult because since it's almost a 360 panorama, you just have to figure out where you put the camera to get that nice also round arch in the foreground so that it looks like you have one arch on the left, then it goes down again and then back up. So I had to get close to the ridge, close enough not to fall and lose my life, but still to find that little thing where you can stuck the camera in there. And otherwise, in terms of composition, it was quite easy because the tent was there. I was going to leave it there.
Yes.
And I wanted to have something on the other side. So it was more me adding more things to the image than removing anything.
We got another question from Sharon is asking how many images was it merged together?
Ooh,
So it was like a sky and a landscape at on one side, right? We're all looking at this again. We're all looking at this as this linear thing, but remember it was it was forth, right? She flipped around.
Yes.
So you said you did the landscape during like astro twilight?
Yeah, exactly before sunrise.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so for the sky part, I think it was 8 panels of 2 rows each. So that would be 1632 for the sky. And that is just for non-tracked. I have tracked some parts just to make sure that I get a bit more information. Everything is tracked, but I had stacked some parts to make sure that I get more information. And then the landscape is probably about 12 panels, 2 rows as well. So 24. Yeah, it's about 50 images.
Wow. And the post-processing time, folks, I mean, it's probably twice the amount of time it took you to take it, right?
Yeah.
Someone is asking, Alan is asking, can you not get the double arch in April as well? And
It depends when the new moon falls, and it
okay.
depends on the latitude as well.
Yep.
There is a very narrow latitude range where you can be so that both arches on the same night have the same angle. You can, of course, have it in April, depending where you are, but it's going to be low. One of the two is going to be lower than the other. So March is usually the good compromise to get both at the same latitude, around between, I think it's between 40 to 50. Is going to be a good range for that. 50 is maybe a bit high, but 47.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Excellent. I think. And what was final question? What was the tracker that was causing you all this grief?
It's a Benro Polaris. I've had it for a while now, but I am those people who did not start with like the common tracker. I went straight for a Polaris, and now I find myself going back to the less computer powered, but more reliable version.
Right. I mean, it's a great tool. It is a great tool.
Yes,
It's
it
not,
is, it
there's
is.
no
When it works.
knocking that, but I think, and you would know this 100% because you're a winter, a
Yeah.
winter warrior, you know, the sort of the less electronics, sort of the better in these winter things because
Yes.
battery and charging and just electronics in general really aren't meant to do what Angel does, hike to these insane places and 30 degrees below and everything like that. So, but yeah, that's better than a manual tracker, I guess. All right. Well, thank you so much, Angel.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, one last question. Michelle, how long was the hike in? This is a good one.
The hiking was not too long, actually. We're fortunate enough in Switzerland to have access to a lot of high places. It's one of the few where you can get access with a special mountain train. And so the hiking was, I had to go to the next ridge from that station, but it was probably a 30 minutes hike, which was good because minus 17 with
Snowshoeing.
no, it was too narrow to have snowshoes. It would have been more difficult. So actually, crampons was a good
Yeah.
thing to have in case, and just to go further away on that ridge. So maybe 20, 30 minutes, something with all the
Okay.
gear.
And using lens warmers and stuff like that as
No,
well? No?
that was
Okay.
my mistake.
All right, now we know. Well, listen, you want to learn more, you know, Angel is offering a class all about the winter shooting and everything. So you want to stay tuned for that one at Night Photo Summit because she's going to go on to all the gear, all of the details of just you. Now, again, we don't have the Matterhorn in our backyard, but perhaps we've got some snowy hills and mountains and stuff that we want to go to or prepare us to go there at some time. Angel, thank you so much. Really
Thank you.
appreciate. Always a pleasure to chat with you and to see your
Same.
wonderful work. So,
Thanks a lot.
all right. Yep. All right. Next up is Adam Woodward. Come on down. While Adam is coming
Hey,
on,
buddy.
how you doing?
Nice to
How's
see you again.
how's that beard doing? That beard seems to kind of just have like stayed the same length for the many years that I've
Yeah.
known you. It's
As
like,
long as it's reached terminal beard length, it'll never get any longer. I don't trim it. It's just the way it is.
and
I
do
can't
we?
get to a full ZZ, you know.
I love the ZZ. I love the ZZ. Right. I just can't. I can't get by the awkward stage. I'm like I can go a little bit further, and then just things get awkward. I got to get past the awkward stage to the next stage. Whatever.
You just
Do
have
you
to.
have a picture of you with like a nice chunky icy beard? Do you have that
You have
shot?
one somewhere. Yeah, when I was on the
Uh,
top of Mount Pierce in New Hampshire a bunch of years ago.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Excellent. All right. Well, let me give an introduction here, an official introduction besides our beard talk here. We'll talk beer later too, but Adam Woodward is a landscape photographer based out of Lubbock, Maine, where he teaches night photography workshops. He's had a love for photography for over 25 years. His book, Night Sky Photography, From Principles to Professional Results, is a bestseller. And Adam has had articles and images published in Outdoor Photography Magazine, Digital Photo Magazine, Digital Photo Pro Magazine, The Luminous Landscape, Nikon's Image Chaser, DP Review, Down East Magazine, and more. We're thrilled to have Adam share his stellar night visions with us at another Night Photo Summit. And one more fun fact about Adam. 10 years ago, April, on our first National Parks at Night workshop and we were in Acadia, Maine, so was Adam teaching a workshop, and so was a couple other guys, and we all saw that we were kind of converging on Acadia at the same time. The permits didn't. It's funny, the permitting people didn't tell us that. They didn't realize that, and we all realized that. And I believe Adam, you were the one that really reached out and started, connecting us and saying, "Hey, let's make sure we're not at the same places at the same time, so our workshops can just really enjoy it." So really kudos to the noble heart and making sure that communication stays true. The irony, of course, was it didn't matter because it rained every night.
That's true. I remember that.
Remember that? We were shooting under the bridges, and doing a lot more daytime photography than we had planned on our first NPAN workshop. So, Adam, you're always forever linked to the beginnings of NPAN, and really appreciate that, and appreciate that long-term friendship.
Oh,
So,
thanks, man.
yeah.
That
All right.
was quite an. I remember there was like 5 workshops going on at the same time or something like that.
It
in
was
Acadia.
insane. And that was the dawn of night photography and night photography
Yeah.
workshops, right? It was like just
Yeah.
the beginning of it all. And just everyone wanted to go to Acadia. And ever since then, we have not gone to Acadia in April at all. This is it.
Yeah.
Forget about it. It's like,
Yeah.
can't count on it.
It's too busy.
It's too busy.
And the weather. Yeah.
And the weather is
Yeah.
inconsistent. So let's share an awesome photograph. I don't know where this is, so I'm super excited to learn more. This image, I'm not familiar in your portfolio, so super excited to learn more about this image. And let's see, let me pull it up. Here it is. There we go. All right.
Yeah,
So
there.
share with us, Adam, this story behind the shot.
Yeah, so I dug into my archives. This is from almost that same time. It's from oh, you're advancing photos here. There we go. That was from 2015, I think. So almost in February, almost 11 years ago. And it's a sea cave here on the coast of Maine. It's I've never like publicly said where it is, but like everyone knows where it is. And it's in a park where they like took down the signs for it. They took it off the guide maps and off the trail maps, and they took down the trail and railing and everything that used to lead to it. So, but if you look up Sea Cave in Maine, you'll find it without any trouble. But I think they took all that stuff down because people probably were getting injured or lost or whatever, because it is not super easy to get here. But I'd had this sort of plan in mind for, I think, a couple of years by the time I actually got to taking the photo. Um, and for everything to line up, it had to be in winter. So this was on a night in February when it was, I think, 0 degrees out, 0 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius. Um, and it was pretty windy, but fortunately in the cave, obviously no wind. So I didn't have to deal with wind chill in the cave, but I had to go figure out if the composition would even work. And this was back, Photopills was around, but looking on the map, on the satellite map, like I didn't know where the cave actually exactly was, which way the mouth of the cave faced, the opening. So to go check it out, I had to go down and get access into the cave during daylight to make sure I could even get there in the winter conditions, because there was like 3 or 4 feet of snow on the ground. We'd had a pretty good winter that year. So I showed up in the, I think, afternoon and put on snowshoes and hiked down through waist deep snow to from the parking lot, the hill sort of above the shore. You hike down to the shore, then you hike along the tops of the cliffs over to this, like, at the time there was this sort of drainage stream coming out of the woods that was frozen. So I snowshoed down from the parking lot to the cliffs over to the drainage stream, took my snowshoes off and basically just slid down the drainage stream like on my butt, put on micro spikes, some crampons, ice traction to walk across the ice covered rocks at low tide, get into the cave and confirm like which direction it was facing, if the composition would work. I stood at the mouth of the cave and used Photopill's augmented reality and kind of checked that the Milky Way would be visible from there. And I also confirmed with a compass heading, because this was 11 years ago. Phone compasses weren't quite as accurate as they are now. And I used an actual literal compass, good old fashioned compass, and I knew the heading of the Milky Way where it would be that night roughly, and kind of confirmed that way as well. And I also just did all this to confirm that I could like get in the cave and get out of the cave with all the ice and snow everywhere. So I did all that in the afternoon, and then I came back at like 2 a.m. in the dark and did it all again by myself. And it was even colder. Like I said, it was 0 degrees, really windy, but did all the same stuff, hiked down with the snowshoes, slid down my butt on the frozen stream, and then put on some micro spikes, hiked down into the cave, and got all the shots while probably using, I'm guessing at the time, either using electric heated mittens maybe or hand warmers, one or the other. I'm not really sure which I had then, to keep myself from freezing entirely. And of course, all of this had to come together with the new moon and the tide and the weather, right? So the tide had to be low enough so I could get in and out of the cave without being trapped in the cave, and be there long enough to get all the photos that I needed for the final image. I had worked all that out and timed the tide and everything like that, so it did work out, as you can see. The only thing that didn't work out 100% were the clouds. There's a little bit of cloud there at the bottom of the sky, obscuring the lower part of the Milky Way. Um, but everything else worked out, and it is technically speaking, so this was 11 years ago. It was taken with a Nikon D800E, which way before mirrorless. It was taken with the old Nikon 14 to 24 f2.8 lens, and I used a focal length. I think I settled on 17 millimeters for this, just to get rid of the sort of empty interior of the cave a little bit from 14 millimeters, just zoomed in a little bit. And it was a total of about 13 exposures. I did star stacking for the sky. So it was 10 seconds each at ISO 6400 for 10 exposures that were then stacked in a Starry Landscape Stacker, which is a Mac OS app that lets you stack and average a bunch of images so that you get lower noise and pinpoint stars. It's kind of like using a tracker without having to deal with a tracker. And the you can do this in Sequator on Windows, is a program that does it on Windows. I use a Mac, so I use Starry Landscape Stacker. It's available in the Mac App Store if you don't already have it. Most people here probably already have it, I'm guessing, and have already done star stacking. But back then, like almost no one had heard of it, and it was a brand new program. And so I used that for the sky, and for the foreground, I used 3 different exposures at ISO 1600 with varying focus distances, different f-stops and exposure lengths, to get the full depth of field and dynamic range that I needed for the foreground. So there's always at least one shot of the foreground with the focus remaining at the stars, so that the horizon and everything in the distance will line up and blend easily with the sky, horizon. And then I probably pulled focus in to get the icicles on the cave and everything in focus. And I don't remember what the shutter speeds were. I might have it written down over here, but it's probably minutes, various, anywhere from like 1 to 10 minutes would be probably normal for what I was doing here. And I was taking the night photos of the Milky Way during, dark night, but it was taking me a while to kind of get through everything. So by the time I was done with the sky photos, it was getting more and more into blue hour and twilight. So that's why the foreground has a lot of blue in the water, and like the ice cave, the icicles in the cave on the right side are really lit up a lot more than I was kind of hoping they would be, because it doesn't look natural with like a night sky. Like they look like they have a lot of light on them for some reason. But it's just the way it came together, and it worked out, even with all that. And yeah, it's one of my favorite images to talk about, just because there's so much went into it, and it was such a long process to kind of get it done. And it was one of my longer edits. And I think back in the day, it took me 4 hours, maybe per day for like 2 days or something like that, to get through this thing, and it was like a real pain to blend in all the exposures and around, especially around the opening of the cave, get everything kind of perfect and not looking weird. Um, so yeah, I guess that's about most of what I have to say about that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Adam, it's amazing image. And I gotta say, and I will just, I think people have liked when we maybe continue to share the image while we're talking about it. So I'm going to continue that here. Folks, if you have any questions, leave it in the chat. I think my main comment, Adam, is that this is a shot from 2016, you said, right?
2015, yeah, 11 years
2015,
ago. Yeah.
right? So again, technology was not, it was there, but not where, I mean, right now it's freaking amazing. And right,
Yeah. I mean, now you have trackers if you wanted to fit in like the palm of your hand,
trackers and just
and
image lens quality is
image
improved.
lens quality, camera noise is a lot better, reduction software is a lot better.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so my question to you is, right? You're saying you put 8+ hours, right, into processing
Probably
this,
it was many hours. It was probably something like that.
and it looks great. I think this looks amazing, so well blended, the colors, the transitions. But would you consider revisiting this with the newer technology and blending and stuff like that that is available today?
Yeah, I've thought about that with a lot of my older photos of
Hmm.
revisiting them, but it's like I have so many newer photos to edit too. It's like, when am I going to get down to editing the older photos again?
Exactly.
Every once in a while, like when I was writing my book, I had to do some tweaks on some old photos. So I think I did do a full re-edit of one of them that I just did not like the edit I had at the time, and like maybe just did some color changes and other simple edits to some. So every once in a blue moon, I do something, but there's so much new stuff to take too, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Work on, yeah.
And people are commenting, what was, did you say, like the water, the smoothing of the water? So that was probably one of the, like a 15, 20, I forget what that was the sort of the landscape shot
Yeah, the water is
exposure.
all mostly all from like the closer to twilight shots, so there was minutes. I thought I would have written down, in preparation for this, what the exact shutter speed was for that. But there was like three extra shots for the foreground, and they were all of a few minutes of some sort in length, probably up to 10 minutes. I don't know,
Yeah, yeah.
without looking, but
And another technical question. This one's coming from Deb. You mentioned you were varying your apertures while you were focus stacking as well, or
yeah.
yeah? And
Well,
she was just, yeah.
I was just trying to get better depth of field, and as the light was getting brighter, I could stop down the lens a little bit and get more depth of field and more at a sharper foreground,
Hmm.
um, without focus stacking as many photos, I think I have to remember, like the camera might have been like kind of low in the cave. I don't remember. So like maybe some of the foreground was, kind of really out of focus without doing some focus stacking. And because it was getting brighter out, I could afford to stop the lens down a little bit and get some sharper details too.
Yep. Nice. Nice. All right. Well, I'm going to stop the share there. And I think we've got most of the questions there answered. Adam, beautiful image. A lot of, check out a lot of positive comments, cave comments, icicle comments. Everyone wants to visit your secret cave now. So you got to lead tours just to that cave. Um, but thank you again for sharing that image, and we're really looking forward to. Adam's doing a really interesting class, folks, at Night Photo Summit. It's interpreting the Milky Way with a 50 millimeter lens, right? So that's kind of a really, oftentimes we think of the Milky Way 1424 and somewhere in between that focal length. But Adam, the benefit of using a 50 millimeter lens.
Well, you really get to punch in on the core and get amazing detail. And if you can find a landscape subject that works for it, it can be like a really beautiful, like just the center of our galaxy on top of a landscape. And if you've never done a 50 millimeter Milky Way shot before, you got to give it a try.
Highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. I've also done, don't tell anyone, Adam, but I've also done like a 75 millimeter one. It's crazy. Absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
All right, Adam. Thank you so much. We will see you a little bit later. on the wrap, and obviously we'll see you on Night Photo Summit weekend.
Thanks, guys.
All right, and then next up, we've got our dear friend Marybeth. Marybeth, where are you? Marybeth Kiczenski in the house. What?
I'm here.
And Marybeth and I are in the same state, but we're very far away from each other. We're
Yep.
at opposite ends.
Complete opposite ends.
Right? Complete opposite ends. So you got to let me know when you're a little closer. When you go to
Yes.
the Javits, that's my hometown.
Yes,
So
for sure.
Marybeth has been a speaker with us at previous Night Photo Summits at Nightscaper, and she's been a good friend. We just did a workshop together, the lighthouses of Michigan. That was super awesome. We had a great time. You think she's fun online? Oh my God, in person, it's just like it's bonkers. Just bonkers.
It was so fun.
So the quick bio on Marybeth Kiczenski is she's great, right? But she's a Great Lakes-based adventurer and photographer with an obsession for dark skies and northern lights. In fact, I don't know many people that have that obsession more addictive than hers. But it wasn't always this way. She's got her feet wet, so to speak, with automotive photography. Always at the racetrack, she loved capturing those nuanced moments of a car under extreme pressure. Marybeth feels fortunate to find wonderful people in the nightscaper world who inspire and push her beyond her limits. And she's been featured on National Geographic's Your Shot and Sky and Telescope, and was awarded the APOD, the Astronomy Picture of the Day in 2021. Her hope is an awesome one to inspire and help others grow in their own journey. Thank you very much, Marybeth, for being so fun and an inspiration unto yourself in this wonderful Nightscape community.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right. So, and let's share. Everyone ready? Buckle up. This is a super fun one.
It is
Here
a
we
fun
go.
one.
Right? And here we go. We're going to share 3, 2, 1.
Wow. So
Ah.
there it is. Sorry, I got a cold too, so I sound a little muffled. So I'm just gonna say that off the bat in case I start coughing uncontrollably. But I work with the general public, so it's only a matter of time till I was gonna pick up something. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What we have here is this image. I decided to pick this one because we always talk about how we have these grand plans for things, like you plan this Milky Way, you plan the hike, you do all this stuff, and well, what happens when you don't have one? That's what this image is about. This was the November 10th Aurora show, which probably some people remember. This was a good event. I just got back from Norway, like literally just got back from Norway. Like the big event, the X-Flare that happened with this, I was at the airport in Germany crying, obviously, because now what am I going to do? Because I had to come back and then I had to fly to St. Louis for another job. So this has been my how do I want to say this? The bane of my existence with all these big Aurora events is I've always been in between work trips or in places where I can't find anywhere to go. So I was stuck to Illinois. And if you know anything about Illinois, you know it's the land of light pollution. Some people say it's the land of Lincoln, but I say it's the land of light pollution. There's nowhere you can really go to get away from it. So I opened up Google Maps. We all love Google Maps. And I started looking around at things. And I did a little search called, are there any waterfalls in Illinois that are within a 2-hour drive of Chicago, since I had to be at the airport the following day at 8 a.m. And, I did some little Google searches and it came across this one. This one's called Thunderbird Falls, and it's in Galena, Illinois, which is kind of on the border of Illinois and Iowa. Why it's called Thunderbird Falls, I don't really know. I couldn't really find an answer on that. And I've never been here before. So, but based on the images, based on looking at Google Maps and be like, hey, that kind of faces north. It was more northeast, but this is a big event. It shouldn't matter. I decided to take a flyer and go there in the middle of the night. So again, no scouting, none. This is just, you go there and you just see what's given to you. And this is that image. Of course, walking around, you're like, because we all like composition, right? So I was like, what am I going to do here? And those leaves didn't happened to be there. I picked them up and put them there. I'll own up to that. But I really wanted something to kind of tie the whole thing together. And the waterfall was flowing a little bit. It could have been better, but this is fall, and most most of the Great Lakes waterfalls around this time of year, they don't flow very much. In fact, there was another one not too far away from here, and it didn't really have any sort of water at all. So I stuck it out with this, and it worked out pretty good. The problem when you run into features that are in more canyons or down below, you're just kind of hoping that the aurora will be big enough that it'll crest it, and it sure as enough did. I had a friend with me at the time, and he was kind of questioning my decision, so he stayed up on the bank, and but when I showed him the picture, he was like, okay, I see what you did there. I'm like, but this always just comes with experience. When you see enough of these bigger shows in different latitudes, you can kind of get a feel for what it's going to do. But what was neat with this one is you have a lot of isolated proton aurora, which is what those little blobs are. And that I think that's what kind of made this image more unique, is the proton aurora that was in it, as well as the big rays. And it was a lot of red. The red was insane that night. I have a couple images after this that where the whole ground, everything was just red. It was pretty wild. But in terms of technique, I did focus stack this, and I'm sure Gabe will talk about this, but my talk for Night Photo Summit is focus stacking at night, and that's what I had to do here. And Adam kind of got into this when he was talking about his beautiful little cave shot, and I'm a sucker for caves too, so I love that image. You can try to use like a more narrow aperture, so you don't have to use as many to get everything in focus. So I believe I should have wrote this down too, but I believe I did this at f7, so I got like 3 or 4. Actually, it was 4 to get everything in focus. So that had to been 3-4 minute shots, and I did it at ISO 4000, so a little bit higher ISO than I would have liked, but I also didn't want to run it for like 8 minutes or something. So that's how I got that. And then of course the sky image is the aurora, and that was probably 4 seconds maybe. Might have been a little quicker than that because this was a pretty dynamic event. And then had to, of course, pull it all together. Since I did take everything at night in the dark, this one was actually relatively easy to put together. You didn't have the drastic changes with the blue hour foreground and the night sky. Everything had like the same color cast to it, so it was a little bit easier to put together. But that's kind of the whole story. I know I blew through that, but it wasn't. This isn't my favorite image of the year, but I thought it's nice to share something where you have to go into something where you absolutely don't have a plan, and how you can use the tools that we have, like satellite imagery. I mean, we are in like one of the greatest eras to be into this kind of stuff. We have access to all these satellite images, and you can make a plan on a fly relatively easily and pull it off, and then drive 2.5 hours back and get on a plane to go to the next job. Well, I really want to catch a good aurora show somewhere like in Utah. Can you make that happen, Gabe?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it for Nightscaper, right?
Yes, please.
Why not, right? You nailed it. You nailed it. This is like, wow. You pretty much broke all the rules.
All the rules.
All the rules, and you got a beautiful shot because you did the main rule, which is to get out there, right?
That's right.
And that's the main thing, the main takeaway, folks, is just get out there, and good things will happen. The more you get out there, you make the effort, every aurora in my mind is like a 3-star shot, right? But then when you put really good foreground in it, it's a 4-star. And then when everything comes together and it's just other elements and blah blah blah, then it's a 5-star, right? So in the end, you might have a lot of aurora shots, but you really just want the 4 and the 5 stars, right? It's just like the whole excitement is amazing, but getting yourself and navigating to this was kudos to you, and wow, yeah, the focus stacking, and the light that you got, the blend, it's nice to see you coming to the dark side, of the blend. And yeah, so these close encounter clouds, you're calling these proton. What? Tell us a little bit more about that. What's good? This is not something you see I think a lot in auroras. Oh, I don't hear you. We don't hear you. Oh no. Now you're muted. Uh, wait, can anyone else? I can't hear her. Can anyone else hear her?
Nope.
Okay. Maybe choose go down to the audio and choose the maybe the either a different outlet, maybe the battery died on that one. And while you are
Here's the
doing,
built-in one.
she's back. She's back.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe this died.
Woo!
Okay. Problem solved. What were you talking about? No.
The proton. Tell
Yeah,
us a little bit about the
yeah.
proton. I know Meg and Michelle, they know the proton aurora, but maybe not
Yeah.
everyone else in the room might not know the proton aurora.
So what's cool about it is this is a not what pre-midnight sector type of a phenomenon. So this is what you're gonna see like in the early evening till about 11-ish, maybe 12.
Mhm.
Because you rotate under the aurora oval.
Okay.
And so the way this precipitates, it's always in the pre-midnight sector. So like this shot was probably at like 8:30, I think, ish.
Okay.
So you get a lot of this cool proton aurora, especially with the bigger events during that time, and it'll go away as you move through it. We've been seeing a lot of this lately for the North American side because the way that these events have been timed, it seems like it's that early evening sector.
Hmm.
It happened last week for the people that caught it, which unfortunately I was working again, so I
Again.
didn't catch any of that.
That work is totally getting in the way
It is.
of your
Like, what
real
the heck?
work.
But I was joking with my coworkers. I'm like, maybe I'm just gonna write a book on this is cityscapes with Aurora because this is all I seem to get these days is stuck in big cities with all the light pollution imaginable.
Listen, I love the river, the water feature here, how red it is and everything. It's just outstanding. Really, really good job. We got a question in the Q&A from an anonymous attendee. What was the focal length that you used here?
This was I used my really wide lens. It was the 12 to 24. It was probably around 14.
Okay.
So I know
And
it
you
was I
got
know it
down
was
there. You
quite
got it.
wide.
You got in there. This is
Yeah.
Mary Beth, I don't think very rarely raises her tripod above like 2 feet, 3 feet. It's usually she's like a ninja
I'm always
low.
on the
And
ground.
she's like, right, you're like a hermit crab or like whatever, a crab going around there.
You know, I'm naturally kind of short, so I just like that short viewpoint. You know, you're always looking up, no matter what.
And how many images did you say for the stack on this one?
It's four.
4 images? Okay.
Yeah.
So, as Mary Beth mentioned, her class at Night Photo Summit is called One Photo is Never Enough, Focus Stacking at Night. What's the most images you've used in a focus
Oh
stack?
man, I've probably, I try to keep it relatively tame. I think I've only done 8 at the most.
Okay.
And that's when you're doing flowers.
Okay.
That can
Oh,
be
yeah, yeah, yeah,
difficult.
yeah. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
But
a whole,
I always try to run these bigger or these narrower apertures, like f7, f8, so that way you don't have to do the crazy stacks. But in this case, you do have to run the shutter a lot longer.
yeah.
Unless you do blue hour.
Right, right, right. But that would require planning and
Yes.
scouting and stuff like that.
No, no,
When you're on the fly, you
can't
do
do it.
this. You do that, and you still come away with an outstanding shot, out of this
Yeah.
world, literally.
Well, thank you.
So, Mary Beth, thank you. We're gonna stop the share, and I think that's the questions we've got. So, next up, thank you so much, Mary Beth.
Thank you.
Stick around for a little chat at the end. And next up, we have, let me prep the image. Oh boy, this just keeps getting better and better here. Next, we've got Prince Berkoh. Please come on down.
Hey, Gabe. How you
How
doing?
you doing, Prince?
Great to be back here.
Yeah, it's great to have you back, Prince. Last year was the first time at Night Photo Summit, and he was one of our early calls to come back to it. We really love his work, and he's going all over the world. Quick little bio on Prince. He's a professional photographer based in Spain who specializes in landscape, astro landscape, and he's really got the knack for auroras lately. Prince travels all over the world as a tour guide with the popular Capture the Atlas team. And as much as he loves staying at the forefront of technology innovations in photography and artistic trends, Prince finds his greatest inspiration in nature. He thrives in the outdoors, exploring remote locations and crafting original photographic concepts, driven by his love for photography and a desire to make a difference. This is a theme, folks, here. A lot of these photographers, right? We want to make a difference. Prince co-founded the Focus on Change initiative with Capture the Atlas. This project leverages the power of photography to support charitable causes and give back to the global community. Prince, thank you so much for that, for giving back and for exploring the world and sharing it with us. And you've got a doozy out here to talk about today, so I'm pretty excited. Are you ready? Are you excited?
I am.
You
I'm
ready to
really
relive
excited,
it? You ready to
honestly.
relive it?
I mean, even if I look a little sleepy, just bear in mind it's 2 a.m. here, but I'm super excited.
2 a.m. If the aurora's going on in Spain, he'll be out the door in a minute. All right, here we go.
Oh man. I mean, talking about the auroras in Spain, we had a show last week actually. And
Yeah?
funny thing is, I didn't get to photograph it because I didn't have a car. My car was at the mechanic. So, yeah.
And you're up on the coast, like are you Santander or where are
Yes,
you?
yes,
Yeah.
northern coast of Spain. So, yeah,
You that coastline is mwah, oh,
yes,
phenomenal.
yeah,
Phenomenal. So,
absolutely.
all right.
But
Well,
well, yeah,
take us
this
this is
for
not Spain.
absolutely not. Yeah, this is Lofoten, and I mean, thank you, Gabe. The reason why I chose this image, I mean, this actually happens to be a very simple image. It's not because of the technical difficulty or the technicality of it, the composition or anything. It's actually one of my very few single exposures, and I'll tell you a little bit more about why it's a single exposure later. But the reason why I chose this image is because of the little story behind it and also how it ties to my theme at the Night Photo Summit, which is mastering water planning for night photography. Um, so, I mean, this photo came at the very end of a Lofoten photo tour I was running last year. So this was in March. And we had been in Lofoten for a week, and we've had like beautiful sunrises, beautiful sunsets, but the northern lights, the aurora has had escaped us every single night, either because we didn't have clear skies or we didn't have like good solar activity, and then we couldn't photograph it. And I mean, when you're running a photo tour, you probably know this, Gabe. Like when you're running a photo tour, you obviously cannot control the weather. I mean, there's nothing you can do. If I could control the weather, I would be the best, the best photographer in the world. But you do kind of feel a little bit of responsibility to deliver the best images possible to all these people who have entrusted you with their time, with their money, to help them with their photos. You feel a little bit of responsibility. So it was nearing the end of the photo tour, and like the pressure was building up. I was like, man, I really want to get this shot. And when it comes to Northern Lights, I mean, like some most people haven't seen it ever, and it's like their first time seeing the Northern Lights. So it's just like even like more added pressure, and you're like more like incentivized to deliver. So the night we got this photo, I mean, the day leading up to this night. We had, I mean, a beautiful sunrise, beautiful puffy clouds, incredible golden light as happens during this time of the year in Lofoten. And we were checking the forecast. We were like updating the weather forecast like every hour, checking the forecast because, I mean, it was either this night or nothing. So we were like constantly hour after hour checking the forecast, updating up until like 9 p.m. roughly. Okay. And then we saw during the day that there was going to be like a little window of clear skies in Skexanden Beach, which is this beach in the photo. And this was like about a 40-minute drive from our current location where we're staying for the night, which was in Raina. Excuse my poor pronunciation of Norwegian. And I mean, Raina is a beautiful town, one of the highlights in Lofoten. And Skaksan, I mean, it's so beautiful in Lofoten. What am I even saying? But this was, yeah, a 40-minute drive from our current location. So, I mean, not too far. We could definitely make it. So we were just like tracking this little window of clear skies. And just right about when we were almost decided, we saw that there was going to be like another window of clear skies right over Raina. So we're like, I don't know, should we just stay here, just outside of our cabins, take the shot here, or just drive 40 minutes to Skakesanden and risk it all and go there, you know? I mean, and it's not like you can just go and come back. It's like all or nothing because the window of clear skies was gonna be like an hour and a half, a couple of hours, so not too long. So if you locked in for a location, you were locked in. So in the end, we decided to go to Skakesanden. The reason why, because it's we were checking both the forecast models, so we were like comparing different models, but also we checked the satellite data. So that was like the thing that made the big difference here. So we were checking like the satellite imagery, which is super important when you're like checking the weather for events that are happening. I mean, either right now and or within like the next hour, you know. So in the satellite image, we could see that the way the clouds were moving was actually more beneficial to go to Skakesanden rather than staying right now. So we decided like, okay, let's just go to Skakesanden and then yeah, risk it all. Yeah, you know, as we were driving there, the skies were cloudy. We couldn't see a single star. I was like wondering, like, did what have I done? Did I make the right decision? But yeah, we just had to keep going. As soon as we arrived there, we parked, and the clouds started parting. I mean, this sky started like clearing up. We just rushed onto the beach, set up our tripods, and as soon as we were like setting up our tripods, finishing setting up, the aurora just magically appeared and the sky just exploded. This was like one of the best, I mean, definitely the best aurora I've seen in Lofoten in the few years I've been going there, and one of the best I've ever seen. This was like amazing. It was beautiful. And I mean, the group was just beyond happy. I mean, this was the first time for some of them seeing the Northern Lights. And it was, I mean, it was an amazing experience for all of us. And just as the forecast has predicted, the window of clear skies lasted for just a couple of hours. So we were just there at the right place at the right time. And if we had stayed back in Raina, it would have been cloudy because I was chatting with some friends that were staying in Raina and they couldn't get a Northern Light show. So it just goes to show how important it is to really be on top of weather forecasting and knowing how to read the forecast and being at the right place at the right time. And at the beginning of this little talk, I mentioned that this was a single exposure. I usually don't do single exposures. I like to complicate myself. I just do multiple exposures, blending, stuff like that. But I actually left a little Easter egg in this photo. If you look at the bottom right, roughly, of this image, you'll see the shadow of my camera there. And I left it there. I mean, I could have removed it for sure, but I left it there because of two things. Well, first of all, we had the moon behind us, so that was a big part of why I could do a single exposure because the moon was just like lighting up the whole foreground. And it was just like giving this beautiful soft light on the foreground. So I didn't have to like raise the shadows way too much and just expose for the sky. But also, lately, photographers, we get a lot of comments about like our images being AI. Like, this is AI generated, this is fake. And the shadow of my camera there, it's subtle, but it's there. It just goes to prove that this really happened. You know, this was taken by a real person, a real camera, and this was a real moment with real memory. So yeah, that's the whole story behind this image.
Sorry about that, Prince.
That's
This is amazing. I love it. I love that it's a single shot. Again, there a lot of moonlight here, and also just proves everyone. So many people say auroras can't help it happen, in under moonlight. This is super strong. That reflection, that shape. What it was your focal length and shutter speed, or an exposure
yeah. So
total? Yeah.
the focal length here was 17 millimeter. This was with
Yeah.
my Tamron 17-28. I mean,
Okay.
I've used this lens for the past, I don't know, 6, 7 years. It's an
Nice.
amazing lens. And the shutter speed, if I'm not wrong, it's a half a second. Because I
Okay.
wanted to obviously freeze the aurora as much as possible
Hmm.
and also freeze the water because the reflection you see here is actually it's a wave. It's not a pond or anything. It's just like a wave coming in, and I wanted to like freeze the water as much as possible. So it was half a second, and I think ISO probably like 12,800, something like that.
Yeah, we're seeing that happen a lot more. People like, I remember the first Aurora I shot 15 years ago was like, 4 seconds, 8 seconds, whatever. And now everyone's like, half a second, quarter second, set 1 second, to keep the shape and everything. And what a wonderful shape this one is, really. And great job of nailing the weather, which also plays right into, again, your class. You mentioned it briefly. I'll mention it again. Mastering weather planning for night photography, folks. You want to sit in on this class. The guy, he nailed this shot and went to the right place. You want to sit on this. We do have a question, of course. One of the questions, probably, I see Meg asking it, and I'll ask you. Uh, what are some of the weather apps you're going to be talking about in that class? And what was, for this shot, what was the most important one?
So the main weather app that I use 99% of the time is Windy, windy.com. You can either
Okay.
go to the
Yep.
website or download the app. I'll be mentioning different apps in their presentation, but I'll actually do like a little live demonstration of how to use Windy. In my
Nice.
opinion, it's one of the most complete apps. I mean, there's many other apps like Ventusky, for example. Ventusky is also very detailed, but it's actually very similar to Windy. The reason why I choose Windy is because of all the information you get, like all the different layers, all the different forecast models, and it's actually like very intuitive to use once you get into it a little bit.
Nice. We always like to have like a weather class. I think Mary Beth's taught a weather class with us as well. It's always just good. There's so much to learn, and so much to gather on it. Mary Beth, I see your comments. Yes, everyone, right. There's no set exposure for auroras, right? Anything really. Play it to how the scene, how are the auroras moving and playing
Yes.
and stuff like that. Experiment. Right. The main thing is, I think that just Prince Aurora, we've sat under some auroras. Once they start going, just
Yeah.
don't forget to pay attention, right? Because usually we're just like,
Yeah.
right, and especially in a place
And
like this, like, right, and it's like,
yeah.
and
And then you turn around and it's going on behind you,
that's going
So
on over
you
there.
just have to
So,
like look around. Yeah.
so
So that's that actually happened this night. Like this was looking west. No, not west. This was looking east. So yeah, I mean the aurora was like crossing the entire sky at some
wow,
point in the night.
yeah,
So you could get
it's
like a whole panorama. I actually have a panorama shot of this night with a little bit of the moon in there. But I still haven't got around to editing that one. But yeah, those with the auroras, you already know that you have to like be constantly moving, adjusting your settings. Sometimes if it's very, I mean, sometimes it's very quiet, you can do like a 10-second exposure. If it's very active, you can bring it down to like 2 seconds,
yes,
1 second, half a second. I
yep.
mean, yeah, it just depends. It's different to Milky Way photography in that aspect. You just have to like adjust your settings way more often.
Right. And folks, who in the chat here has not seen an aurora? You got to make it happen. Because it's still going on, right? Everyone says, "Oh, no, we passed the peak. We passed the peak." I don't know. I think it's still going on, and you got to get it whether it's, going out to Michigan, Maine, even Washington or Alaska, Canada, or if you can afford to kind of get up to Lofoten and Iceland. But again, the risk of the clouds, always, always. So wherever you go, pay homage to Lady Luck and hopefully you're there for at least a week, right? All right, Prince, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thank you very much, Gabe.
And also one last comment from Brad G said, great shot, classic photography from going in on that. Right on. All right. So yes, the chats are going on about auroras. It is so we are living in a golden age of auroras. I love it. I love it. And hopefully we can all experience it and just keep experiencing it more and more. And those cameras and that tech just keeps getting better and better for us to just do more with it. All right, next up is Geoff Decker. Geoff, come on down.
How's it going?
Good. How you
Hello,
doing?
everyone. Doing all right.
All right, so folks, Geoff is new to Night Photo Summit. He's new to Night Summit. This is his first one. Super excited to have him here. And his Nexus panoramas have just been one of the kind of freshest, newest visions that we at NPAN have just seen. When Chris, I think, was the first one to get tuned into it. He saw me, and I'm like, "Whoa, what are you doing to me? You just blew my mind," with it. So super fun. Geoff's going to show one of those images, but before we see that, let's give a quick bio on Geoff. Geoff is a photographer who spends a great deal of time looking up, largely because the sky refuses to sit still. His astrophotography focus on what he calls Nexus panoramas, which use the Milky Way to connect two landscape perspectives into a single image. These works embrace scale and the uncomfortable math of infinity, inviting viewers to momentarily lose track of where they are, and while also illustrating how connected we remain. While space remains the main event, Geoff also works with other techniques and subjects such as infrared, professional wrestling, and macro photography. Well, I'm still addicted to the Nexus stuff. I'm going to get to the others soon, but really excited. And let's make sure this image. It's hard to squeeze this image all into one frame here. All right, so let's make sure we are there. And here we go. What is going on here, Geoff?
So this was a happy accident. Basically, the night that I took this image, I had agreed to teach my friend how to do astrophotography. And we went out to a town called Last Chance, Colorado, which is this unincorporated ghost town in, eastern plains of Colorado, about an hour and a half outside of Denver. It is an unofficial dark sky because, there's no city light. If you look at the image on the top, you can see basically this red and orange glow. That's actually the light pollution coming from Denver. But going out about this far, you can actually get a really clear shot of the Milky Way. So I decided to take my friend out there and, teach him the basics of how to do astrophotography. We get out there and it's storming. I had this old elementary school with a old looking football field, kind of the thing you'd see from, if you watch the movie from the 40s, that type of era football field, very poorly put together at this point, but it was there. And I figured that'd be a good foreground. But when we get out there, it was, as I said, it was storming, it was wet, it was soggy. Kind of irregular for Colorado at that point. But looking at the maps, looking at Stratospheric, which is the weather app I use, it looked like about 30 minutes away at this other spot that I know of called Abbott Church. It's a small little church and cemetery area that is in the middle, back roads, dirt roads. It looked like it was going to be, mostly over when we got there. So we get there, it's still pouring. We get out of the car. I'm setting up, getting rained on. He's in the car where I coax him out. It stops raining. And basically the storm is starting to pass. About this point, it was probably about 1:30 in the morning. The Milky Way was actually at the perfect vertical stance. So I brought two cameras. He brought one. I set up my first camera, which is the one I use for the Nexus panoramas. It's an A7C2 with the Sony 14 millimeter 1.8 lens on it. So I set it up and I start, basically taking the shot, and it's around 270 degrees worth of shots where you start focusing on the ground and you slowly move it up through the sky and then right behind you. So doing that, and you can see the storm coming in, going by, and it's great. Like, it's slowly going by the sky. So my friend's setting up his camera, I'm setting up my third camera. I'm running back and forth between setting up my two cameras, helping him set up his, while also panning this one up slowly. So get through all that, and basically at the end, I captured on both ends the storm kind of just fizzling out and going by the scene, and I very quickly changed my settings to capture the lightning that was coming out from the distance. Really, really cool storm. It was probably one of the most serene nights in, photographing any of this kind of stuff. Another fascinating interest of mine is I do love going out and capturing lightning. I like sitting under the lightning and just having an interesting experience. So the trick of capturing, say, lightning versus the Milky Way, lightning is incredibly bright. Versus the Milky Way, you usually have to have a very long exposure and get it, these were probably about 15 seconds worth of exposures for the Milky Way at 2000 ISO. The lightning was probably about at 1/60th of an exposure, rapid fire, so I could get them without, having any kind of lightning attachment attached to my camera to automatically capture it. So I had the camera just kind of shooting at 1/60th of a second as the storm passed by. Running back and forth between multiple cameras. And at the end of it, probably the trickiest part about all of this was blending all of the different exposure settings and levels together. I basically used PT GUI to stitch the panorama together, but in Photoshop, I actually had to layer a series of the star images plus different lightning images, which unfortunately, I had to actually go through and mask out various different clouds to get the clouds a little bit crisper. I had to mask in a number of the different lightning bolts. There's probably, I think I counted 14 images per side for the different lightning bolts, and it doesn't look like a lot, but because of all the little strikes, some of them I had to throw out, but at the end, each side had about 14 images, and then I also had to have a separate masking for including different layers of clouds, while also, brightening the exposure on the bottom to make it, shine, make it look like the lightning was actually lighting up those clouds. There was some other photographers there out of my luck, and they were actually lighting the inside of the church, so I didn't have to go and do that. But the church is openly accessible, so if I wanted to, I had a flashlight and headlamps. So I was going to go in and light it for me, but they did it for me, so why not? And so all this together, layering the lightning on top of the stars, combining those exposures, painting them in, making it look realistic, while also including the detail and the depth and the drama that was during that night, was probably the hardest part outside of running between three cameras, making sure all the different settings were accurate, making sure that if I was capturing lightning in the background on the Astros, it wasn't blowing out everything else, because I do have a few of those throwaway images. And it was just very dynamically adjusting lighting as this force of nature was just coming through and constantly changing the lighting throughout that night.
Awesome. And I have to say, Geoff, that force of nature, is that your screensaver that you got behind you?
Yeah, that is from my full spectrum camera that I just had set up stationary. So that was the other view of it.
Okay.
From completely different angle.
Nice. How many shots was this again for this Nexus?
So the Nexus panorama was 30 shots for the panorama, 14 shots for each side of the lightning, and then 5 shots total for the clouds.
Nice. Wow. And obviously, there's this works best certain times of the year, the Nexus photography, pano capture, right?
Depends. So summer is usually the easiest, but I just did one last week with the brief aurora we had here. It depends on how late you want to stay up for the most part.
Right.
March is the earliest that you can really do it at before before say the sun ruins the vertical alignment.
Mhm.
I think the earliest I've gotten one of these is in April, and then the latest has been November, at least successfully. December, I've tried a few times, and at that point, December and January is just going to be the winter Milky Way that, it's there, you can see it, but it's not as defined.
Right, right. And Anthony is asking, the Milky Way is as it's going overhead for the shot. You are shooting it and kind of just going straight up and behind.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So typically, sometimes you'll see on some of my photos, it's a little bit curved. I do try and wait until it's perfectly vertical above me to do these. Sometimes time isn't your friend and you just have to accept it and go, yeah, it's going to be a little bit curved in frame. The 14 millimeter lens does lend a little bit more time to actually shoot your shots. If I do this and say using a 45 millimeter lens, it has to be relatively quick to keep the Milky Way in frame completely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of little
It's math.
tidbits. And this is and how long have you been doing this Nexus Milky Way?
2021, I want to say.
And do you know anyone else doing it? Are you the pioneer? You are the man, or?
I haven't seen anyone else do it beforehand. After my article went live in Petapixel, there are a few others that did it, but at least on Instagram and what I could find, I haven't seen anyone else do it since that came out. I have no idea. I don't search on it a lot, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're a trailblazer, Geoff, and a couple fun comments. Eric Parker, I have enough trouble managing a single camera without messing up. Congrats on running 3. Plus your friend, plus helping out your friend, right?
And it's fun. I keep busy. I have what they call the ADHD, so it's very easy to maintain multiple things at once.
And Alan dropped the Petapixel review. Thank you, Alan. So definitely check that out. That's where we came across Geoff as well. David Jones is saying next time perhaps maybe use 10 cameras, you crazy man.
If I could afford, I would. If I could afford 10 cameras, putting multiple cameras and multiple lenses on the same mount and doing this would be so much fun.
Oh, yeah. There's a cool, like a double gimbal. From Novaflex makes this thing called the Falcon that you can put 2 cameras, 2 focal lengths. And that would be helpful. But yeah, exactly. Andrew's asking, I know you mentioned a couple different ones, but just zooming back in, what was your focal length for this?
Focal length was 14 millimeters.
14 millimeter. That's right. All right. I think that is the questions that we've gotten, folks. But now, and thank you, Geoff. That was awesome. Really great to share your work as well. And we're really super excited to have you join us at this year's Night Photo Summit with your Nexus Panorama Photography. So let's get let's get all the speakers back on the stage. This is our little outro. We can see everyone else, and this is a last chance for everyone to say any comments. It's great. Thank you all for sticking around. You've been very, very chatty. Angel noticed Andromeda in your picture. Marybeth was doing the 3-pointers with the auroras in the background. Really appreciate all the comments and everything. But this is your last chance, folks. If you have any comments, questions, if nothing else, drop a little heart in the in the Zoom thing too. We always like those, right? But let's see. And what I will say again is that this is This has been great. A real, oh, look at the hearts are coming now. There they are. We want to thank you all for attending. And again, if you like this, I mean, look at the work. Look at the work that was shown tonight. Each and every one of these artists is just amazing. Well, I was like just outstanding work. And every one of those images I'd love on my wall. I'd love to have on my wall. It's just I need a bigger apartment in Brooklyn for that, because these are, and again, it was so inspirational. If you want to learn from these 5 people and 40 more just like them, just as good, and showcasing all the different types of night photography, from the weather, from the winter, to different types of panoramas and space and all sorts of things going on. We have got the conference for you, Night Photo Summit. We hope you've got your ticket, here. If not, there's still time. There's still time. It's February 13th to the 15th. And while I will say, you might say, oh, well, that's Valentine's weekend. I'm not going to be available for at least a day or something like that. All these classes are available for 1 year after. I think Michelle holds the record for like watching the same class. I think she watched it like 30 or 40 times. Alex Wide's crazy Star Trail one, which anyone who wants to really learn that, you've got to watch it about 40, 50 times from last year's class. But again, you can watch it over and over and over until 1 year, until, even after the next Night Summit, you can watch it until the next, 1 year. So it's really great. You want to take advantage of that. And just so much really networking, community, camaraderie. And did I mention that stellar glow in the dark t-shirt? Like, Adam, again, can you help me out? I didn't wear mine. I think I'm wearing my Nightscaper. Yeah, I'm wearing my Nightscaper shirt. It's a top-notch shirt, folks. And again, it's a $399. Think about it. It's like $8 per class. It's a really, really great value for it. So let's see. All right, in the comments, everyone's lots of love, lots of love. Thank you. Lots of hey, we'll see you there. I love it. And okay, we do have a request to see Angel shot one more time. And I have no problem, because I learned how to do, or I did this better with we didn't get to see Angel shot. So let's get one more look at that. And we can all ooh and ah over this double Milky Way pano. Oh, there it is. There it is. You got it, Bob and others. This is a great way to close out. I really appreciate this image, because I know I'm probably not going to hike up there. And so I really appreciate, Angel, you taking us there with this mission.
My pleasure.
Really, really do that. So, yeah, this is great. And I will say, Angel sells her prints. We had a great live night talk with her, and she does an exquisite job, limited edition prints, and really, really check out her website as well. And it's just the others. We've got people who've got books and teach workshops. So beyond even Night Photo Summit, if you really, really like one of these speakers, there's more ways to get inspired from them. So, and then right here we have the link. Thank you, National Parks at Night, for dropping the link. You can check out all the speakers, get that schedule online. Even if you put everything in the schedule, that's okay. That's okay. That means you'll just need to get to it eventually, right? Jill is wishing, I hope you feel better, Marybeth. Hope you get back on track, right? So, all right. Well, folks, that about wraps it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, wonderful artists here that really shared your work. Really appreciate you taking the time to do that, and we really look forward to seeing you again. Remember, at Night Photo Summit, we've got the networking room. So oftentimes after the classes, we can chat with them. But oftentimes right after the classes, the speakers bounce over to networking rooms, and you can have one-on-one time with them. So that's really, again, another great feature about the summit. Plus the parties. Plus, oh my goodness, did I even mention the prizes? There's like, so I'm starting to, the prizes are coming in. They're all coming to my house right now. And it's like, if I were to turn this camera away, it would be like this, like Midas mound of gold. It seemed like, so the closing party on Sunday, is going to be awesome. And that's where we give away all of the prizes. And we're going to usually have 60, 70, 80 prizes to give away. So it's like you've got a 1 in 4 chance of winning something at Night Photo Summit, even less if less people show up for the party. So don't tell anyone about the party on Sunday night, right? That's the key. All right, folks, thank you so much again for your time. We hope again you're enjoying